Hello. Um. Okay. There we go. Welcome to my pre-Fallout stream. I will be reading the Fallout 1 manual. I decided to do that before the main stream because the manual is really big. It's 124 pages. It's a chunky manual. And while reading it, I will be playing some of the music from the first two games. I think the music from those games is really good. And it fits, so... that's about all the preface I have. Vault Order Survival Guide. Issued by Vault Tech Documentation Department, January 2077. Notice, this document contains information affecting the national defense of the United States within the meaning of the new amended Espionage Act 50 U.S.C. 31 and 32. Its transmission or the revelation of its contents in any manner to an unauthorized person is prohibited by the law. We're breaking the law. So, again, it's a very... it's a big one. And Section 1, welcome to the Vault of the Future. So, the manual is written, well, this part at least is written in universe, as that page suggests. It's made to be it's pretending to be a real documentation, but as you can see here, the overseer who sends you on your mission in the game, he gives you some tips or hides things. Welcome to Vault 13, the latest in a series of public defense works from Vault Tech, your contractor of choice when it comes to the best in nuclear shelters. Vault Tech, America's final word in homes. This document, VTB-001, the Vault Dweller Survival Guide, is for the events following a worldwide nuclear war. In the case of a limited-scale nuclear war or other world-ending catastrophe, please refer to the appropriate documentation. See also page 128. So... oh yeah, those are other books. That... Dodge Falling Rocks, not available. Third quarter of 2078. Well, that wouldn't happen. Don't let what could have happened bother you. We have enough problems to deal with in the here and now. The Vault series of survival shelters are designed from the ground up to provide the best chance for a good life following nuclear Armageddon. It is the duty of every American citizen to learn and use the skills necessary for a comfortable Vault life. The best place to start is with a description of your new home. So it took 6 years. Almost 6 years to build. These numbers are extremely high because in universe the dollar is worth so little. It's basically worthless. Like in the later Fallout you find like newspapers from the day the bombs fell, and they're worth like over $30 a piece. That's how bad the dollar is at that point. 1,000 total duration, 10 years at capacity. Yeah, about that. Living quarter, 100. Door thickness, 4-yard steel. Ink machine, geothermal. General atomics, they're not too big in the first 2 games. You see them more in the later ones, but water purification. And after that the manual goes on about what happens when a nuclear bomb drops. It is pretty interesting, even if it's irrelevant to the game. It is good for setting the tone and the atmosphere. Vault 13 is designed to provide protection from the effects of a nuclear blast. Better understand the protection provided. We have included a section from the High Energy Weapons FAQ that explains how a nuclear blast causes damage. The first thing bomb victims experience is the intense flux of photon from the blast, which releases 70 to 80% of the bomb's energy. The effects go up to 3rd-degree thermal burns and are not a pretty sight. Initial deaths are due to this effect. The next phenomenon is the supersonic blast front. You see it before you hear it. The pressure front has the effect of blowing away anything in its path. After the front comes the overpressure phase. Would feel like being underwater a few hundred meters. At a few thousand meters under the sea, pressurized holes implode. The pressure gradually dies off, and there is a negative overpressure phase with a reverse blast with a reverse blast wind. This reversal is due to air rushing back in to fill the void left by the explosion. A lot of these things, if you've ever seen the Fallout 4 intro, I'm sure the people in it would have felt some of this, but no, you just look at the explosion and you're fine. The air gradually returns to normal atmospheric pressure. At this stage, fire caused by electrical destruction and ignited debris turn the place into a firestorm. Then comes the middle term effect, scaloid formation and retinal blastoma. Genetic or hereditary damage can appear up to 40 years after initial radiation. So again, it goes on about it all. If you want to read more, the manual is very easy to find. Duck and cover, look at him smiling. Everything's gonna be okay. how detailed this all is. And then the additional publications that they mentioned. I zoom in a little bit. There we go. Vault Dweller Survival Guide abridged version. Condensed version of the Vault Dweller Survival Guide. Just the important information you need. Coping with Mr. Virus. Featuring the latest Super Ebola quarantine technique. Then the pamphlet for the whole family includes the popular How to Burn Deceased Bodies section. How to eat rat. Basic meals complete set a dish all the way from snack to desserts. Flotation homes and seaweed. Complete guide for ocean bound. How to dodge falling rocks. Coming soon. Except it never comes. Okay, section 2. Simulation. The Voltec research group has determined that after a long period of security, many vault dwellers with a dash, will feel uncomfortable with the idea of returning to the outside world. The SimTech 5000 will provide a safe and reassuring return to life on the outside world. This chapter will give you a brief walkthrough of the operation of the SimTech 5000. Experienced vault dwellers, this time without a dash, may want to start with character creation and skip this tutorial chapter. For beginning vault dwellers, this tutorial will prepare you for the outside world. After starting the Fallout process on your terminal, click on the New Game button. That's game things, I'll show these later. Starting out the vault door open. Yeah, that's things I'll show. Love this cursor. The command cursor. If the rat dies, combat will end. Vault personnel, who is... The manual has some good artwork, but this is just eerie. The key to a successful reintroduction of civilization following a massive-scale nuclear war is people. Here at Vault-Tec, we are working to ensure that your fellow man and woman is up to the task of bringing America back from the dead. Characters are people in the game world. A player character represents you in the game world. We will sometimes refer to player character as personnel. The terms personnel and player character are interchangeable. Other types of characters are called non-player characters, NPCs, so that you won't confuse them with you. NPCs can be other vault dwellers, people from the outside world, or even mutants. Standard personnel records. Fallout comes equipped with 3 pre-made characters for your use and enjoyment. These personnel are prepared for most conditions in the outside world. So that's the default characters you can choose. They're not very good, but I like that they have full names and backstories. Max Stone. Known to his friends, Maxwell is the largest person currently living in the vault. He is known for his physical strength and stamina. He would make the ideal volunteer due to his tremendous size and strength. It is unfortunate that his intelligence was affected after birth when the labor bot dropped him on his head. He doesn't care that he might have to leave the vault. Well, they also all have a vault identification number, but this is the only time it's ever mentioned. Natalia is the grandchild of a Russian diplomat who worked at the Soviet consulate in Los Angeles. She is a talented acrobat with excellent coordination and reflexes. She is extremely intelligent and resourceful. Her only difficulty as a young child was understanding personal property laws. Natalia is very interested in leaving the vault and curious to explore the outside world. And then Albert Cole. Albert is a charismatic leader of a small vocal minority of the vault population that is considering life on the outside world. Dedicated to the role of a negotiator, he is often able to communicate efficiently between different parties. His professed occupation is closest to what was once known as a lawyer. Albert is often able to convince others that his ideas are correct. So these three characters are basically the most basic archetypes of Fallout and games like that. You got the combat character, you got the stealth and stealing character, and you got the speech character. I prefer the speech personally, because I think Fallout is all about its lore and dialogue. We appreciate the fact that you are reading the Vault Dweller's Survival Guide, but would prefer that you use the Fallout interface. We have implemented a special way of viewing these personnel. Oh yeah, you can build your own character on top of the default characters, and you can create your own as well. Again, we're gonna look at that later when we make our character. We test the air for radiologicals and viruses. A containment suit is your best friend. Except you can't have one in this game. Let's see. Attack skills. Traits are really good. They're a staple of role-playing games, tabletop, and video games, but they were started in Fallout, I believe. They're you get benefits in exchange for downsides, basically. Glowing objects are to be considered dangerous at all times. If an object has enough illuminosity to read at night, do not touch. Feat and perks, not traits, I see. Select your age, name, character, editor option. Print to file is a weird option. It makes a text version of your profile. It's okay, instrumentation. Oh wow. More actual manual stuff. In the event of exposure to radiation, you must shower with a large amount of water as soon as possible. Lather, rinse, and repeat. Normal view, surface bar. Cursors, movement. Inventory. Proper latrine building is an important outdoor survival skill. Practice this skill as often as possible. Yes. This is good to know. This is good to know. If your eyes are hurt, your perception will be lowered until you heal this wound. Ranged combat will be much more difficult as a result. They can't make everything blurry like in the Bethesda games, of course, so... If one of your arms is hurt, you cannot use two-handed weapons. Both arms are crippled, you cannot use any weapons at all. Ah, this is very rough. Again, in newer games, I'm pretty sure you definitely can still attack. If one leg is crippled, you will find it more difficult to move. It will also be impossible to run. Both legs, barely able to move. Running will still be impossible. Director? Oh, normally, but it is a sham to protect yourself from dangerous predator. Yeah. I don't think you get crippled as often as in the Bethesda games as well. With the trademark Vault Sky. Yeah. Print. Cancel done. Robco Pip-Boy 2000. The Vault Dweller requires information. And information is extremely valuable. Might even be the most valuable weapon we have against the end of civilization, so pay attention. Vault-Tec has selected the Robco Industries Robco Pip-Boy 2000 as the personal information processor of choice for its Vault Dwellers. Pretty cool. It's, again, completely different from the Bethesda one. It's modern super deluxe resolution graphics. Status, photo map, archives. I'll talk about this later, but there's a completely removed option there. It's actually available in the demo, but basically does nothing. There's a clock, the little bell is a wait button. Things to do. Oh. Yeah, they reprogrammed my Pip-Boy to keep track of the number of days remaining in the Vault water stores. This note is the only thing you should care about until we are safe and have a restored water processing chip. The note shows the number of days before we croak. If that happens, Your adventures on the outside won't be worth a set of thermal underwear in Death Valley at high noon. We'll be dead, and we don't want that. Go to it. And your Pip-Boy has been programmed to properly handle all calendar days, even after the turn of the century. Your Pip-Boy 2000 has a 3-month limited warranty. Thanks, Robco. Yeah, they said they reprogrammed the Pip-Boy to keep track of the number of days, but it's literally just a post-it on top of it. Auto map, never. That's the thing I never use. World map. I love the town maps. They're all posters and or drawings. Pretty nice. Dialogue, that's the most important part of the game. I always forget the review button exists, but barter is very important. The event of a fire, do not run. It will force the flames up to your head. Stop, drop, and roll. What did they cover to tell me about? Dialogue, there's this button, tell me about it, that I really don't like. Do they mention it? I don't see it. That's okay. Options, that's important, but I'll show them when they come up in the game. Saving preferences. Oh. All non-combat rolls are made with a plus 20% bonus if set to easy. Set to hard, all negative reaction modifiers are increased by 25%, and all non-combat skill rolls are made at minus 10%. That's rude. No penalty or reward for using a setting besides normal. Combat difficulty, wimpy. Opponents have a negative modifier to hit and damage, and use less targeted shots. On rough level, your opponent will hit more often, do more damage, and use more targeted shots. No penalty for using a lower combat level, no reward for using a higher difficulty level. Personal preferences. Adjust it whenever you want. Combat speed has to be fastest. Combat taunts are very fun. That's just for pose. Oh yeah, it's gonna have some violent and bloody animation and bad language. This image, I love this image, but I don't think there's a high quality color version. Tactics has remade it with the hairy death claws, but it's not the same. At some point during your adventure, diplomacy or stealth will fail. The last resort will be combat. Combat is defined when you have an attacker attempting to do damage to a defender. Requires 2 or more people to have a combat situation. The game is turn-based. There's a lot of enemies, it takes so long. But at least you can make it faster with the options. AP. Your AP is determined by your agility. Action points. It determines how much you can do during a turn. Tends to hit. Skills. We're gonna build energy weapons. They're very good. Right. Full shot burst. Burst is pretty good. Kind of funny you actually get more chance to hit when you burst, but targeted shot interface. That's like proto VATS. Not actually VATS. Different, but works similar. Critical failures there. Yeah, just like how you can do a critical hit. You can critically fail and running out of ammo, jamming your gun, losing AP, dropping your weapon may explode, and missing your target and hitting someone else. Yeah, there's someone who's very prone to doing that. Poison, it poisons you. Radiation is... what does radiation do again? Radiation is an insidious, invisible attack. Radiation causes damage to the cell of the target. Dangerous levels of radiation are left behind in crater from nuclear bomb attacks, for example. Even after hundreds of years, dirty bombs can create hazardous radiation dangers. The effect of radiation is based on the total amount of RAMs, the count of the amount of radiation you have been exposed to. The higher your RAM total, the more likely you are going to suffer ill effects. A RAM count of over 100 is dangerous. If your RAM count is over 1000, it is most likely fatal. Radiation will do damage to your hit points and even to your statistics. Normal armor does not stop radiation damage. Gems such as Radex and Radaway can protect against the ill powers of radiation. So they keep it vague in this. Armor class, damage threshold. Don't let this happen to you. Proper weapon maintenance will stop over 95% of all critical failures. You can't actually maintain your guns in this game. Only a thing in 3 and New Vegas. Equipment. Vault 13 comes prepared with the latest in survival equipment. The items in your storage containers will last 1,000 people over 10 years in comfortable and modern surroundings. When it is time to leave the vault and return to rebuild America, your friends at Vault Tech have provided you with everything that you will need. Yeah, right, who wrote this? What budget did they get? We already used most of the equipment on failed attempts to contact an outside civilization. And we've been here a lot longer than 10 years. We have little left to give you, but we will give you what we can. So, this game has carry weight, sadly. Okay, equipment list, I love those. Brass knuckles. Brass knuckles are a melee weapon that use your unarmed skill. They will help you in hand-to-hand combat when punching. Besides giving your hand a little more protection, they will increase the amount of damage you do with a punch, and they look cool. This one's the spike knuckles, not the brass knuckles, but that's... Club. This police baton will help subdue opponents. You can swing or thrust it as you desire. The baton will focus your strength, doing more damage than your own hands. Not much more though. I've never used those two weapons though. There. Early enough in the game, just punching with your fist is faster. Pistol, this is your basic ranged weapon. The 10mm round packs a goodly punch, and the Colt pistol is a fine example of workmanship and quality. It is a single shot weapon only, meaning that every time you pull the trigger, you will fire one and only one round of ammunition. The 6520 has no problem feeding hollow point ammunition for small game hunting, or armor-piercing rounds for larger bipedal game. Rifle, a longer ranged and more powerful firearm. The Range Master is your basic solid rifle. Uses the .223 caliber rifle round, a standard for over 110 years. The .223 combined with a 1 to 10 inch twist gives good accuracy at range and solid knockdown capability. Grenade. The Fragmentation Grenade is extremely useful as a defensive weapon. A small but concentrated explosive charge connected to a contact fuse will spread over 1,000 metal fragments over a 2.5 meter radius area. The small explosion area means that these grenades can be used at closer range than ever before without possible harm to the user. Again, that's a weapon I've never ever used. I always pick them up and sell them though. SMG, one of the finest weapons in the world. The HNK MP9 is a solid submachine gun, capable of single or burst mode attacks. Single shot is acceptable, comparable to the 6520 pistol, but the burst mode is spectacular. The MP9 is easy to control and spews 10mm depth like no other firearm in its size category. Knife. Voltec knives are formed from the hardest steel alloy known to man. The knife is a superb tool, capable of performing many mundane tasks, as well as being a good melee weapon. The knife point and edge will act as a force multiplier, increasing the amount of damage your strength can do. Not as good as a gun, but better than most other small melee weapons. This knife is not balanced or designed for throwing, as some others are. This particular image is, it's not an image of a knife that you can find in the game. Like, you can find an image of this in the game files, but it's not usable in the game. There's other knives in the game though. Sledgehammer. While many would consider a sledgehammer to be an excellent tool but a poor self-defense weapon, the latest designs are made with lightweight but extremely strong materials. The sledgehammer is a massive weapon that in the hand of a strong wielder can knock foes off their feet. You'll mostly see the sledgehammer in the second game. Spear. A razor-tipped spear can be thrown for several meters, more depending on your strength, or used in hand-to-hand combat, making this a good balance between ranged and melee weapons. While it is not the best tactical sense to throw your only weapon at your opponent, if you keep a sidearm or other small weapon readily available, the spear can be a good first attack. Again, you'll mostly see that in the second game, but spears in the Fallout series. Every classic game has them, including the console Brotherhood of Steel. But then they disappeared until like 76 for some reason. They're the most basic, easy crafted weapon, so it should be in all the games, I think. But that's fine. Ammo, rifle, caliber ammunition, full metal jacket, which describes the bullet that is used in the round of ammo. Very tough, pretty good penetration without sacrificing good expansion. An average round. 10mm AP, 10mm HP. In this game, they both deal the exact same damage. They're broken, so it doesn't matter. Combat armor. It's advanced personal armor for the 22nd century police officer and military grunt. This is about the best armor a vault dweller is likely to see in their lifetime. Combat armor is highly effective against most types of damage, is lightweight for its protective value, and is, unfortunately, not available without a special permit. Interested parties should contact the BADTFL office near them. Leather armor. The original leather armor was designed for motorcycle football and other dangerous contact sport. This is the only time and place in the entire series that motorcycle football is ever mentioned. I think in game the description of leather armor says it's made out of Brahmin. It is likely that the simple construction techniques required to produce armor of this design will make it a popular choice following a nuclear disaster. It provides moderate protection and the light construction makes it easier to dodge attacks while worn. Unfortunately, it provides little to no protection against explosion or plasma attacks. Leather jacket. What's the point of wearing armor if you can't look good? The leather jacket is a toned down version of leather armor, providing minimal protection while not sacrificing any dodging capability. Stylish too. Unfortunately, poor ventilation, and the black leather makes this a very hot armor to wear under the scorching desert sun. I still haven't watched any Mad Max movie. I'd love to though. Backpack. A backpack will store items for you in one convenient location. Items have two features, size and weight. A backpack will store any number of items that total less than around 40 pounds and have a combined size that will fit in a backpack. Several really large items like suits of armor will not fit a normal backpack. Lots of small items will fit just fine. I use a backpack to keep inventory organized. I never use backpacks and bags. I don't think they're convenient. They're really not worth the hassle. The cams, good old cams. Radaway. You have been exposed to a large amount of radiation, then use Radaway to remove the radiation from your system. Won't feel good, but better a headache and some stomach problems for a couple of days than the long-term effects of nuclear radiation. Radaway takes a little while to work, unlike in later games. Radex is a preventive medication. Take Radex before exposure to radiation, and the total amount of radiation you receive will be reduced. Radex bolsters your body's own radiation resistance. The stronger you are to start with, the more effective Radex will be. Stim Pack, short for Stimulation Delivery Package, contains many healing chems. A soup of healing medication, if you will. By injecting the Stim Pack, you drastically increase your own recuperative functions and restore lost hit points almost instantly. The Super Stim Pack contains more drastic chems, increasing the healing effects at the cost of eventual damage to the very tissue it heals. A larger cousin to the Stim Pack, the Super Stim will heal more damage. It will, however, cause a small amount of hit point loss after a period of time. You should be aware of this function and prepare for it. But nothing works like a Super Stim when time is short and danger grave. The most common use I hear for Super Stim packs are making NPCs overdose. Because if you take too many of them, the small amount of hit point loss will kill you. And NPCs will suffer the same. Doctor's Bag. A doctor's bag includes all the items necessary to perform most tasks required by the doctor's skill. Using this item will automatically perform the doctor's skill task, but at a higher percentage chance of success. The proper tools help ensure a higher success rate. A doctor's bag does not contain unlimited supplies and will eventually run out. It is useful, but I always forget to use them. Dynamite and Explosive. Use dynamite to set the timer. After the timer expires, dynamite will explode. Your trap skill will determine if you set the timer properly. In Fallout, explosives are generally lower powered than you would expect. But don't stand next to a charge of dynamite when it goes off. First aid kit. Similar in nature to the doctor's bag, the first aid kit has items for the use of the first aid skill. Using the first aid kit on a hurt subject will improve the successful chance of using the skill of first aid. Also, like the bag, limited amount of supplies. Flare. We're in the things never used. Flare can be used to create a field of light for a period of time. Only really usable during the night or in darkness conditions, the flare can be a successful tool in exploration. Light makes it easier to see people and things. It also makes it easier to hit them. You get penalties to accuracy in the dark. Giga Counter is a device for the measurement of radiation. You place a counter in one of your active item slots, you will have advance warning about radiation. Actively using the counter will give you important detailed information about your personal radiation count. Those things are included in the Pip-Boy 3000, so the Giga Counter was removed from the series afterwards. Lockpicks, an unauthorized item for general vault personal use. Lockpicks are only to be used in emergencies requiring the opening of doors or locked containers when the proper key is unavailable. The proper use of the Lockpicks item will increase the successful chance of using Lockpick skill. Motion sensor. Used in conjunction with the Pip-Boy 2000 automap feature. The motion sensor will display living and moving critters on the map. The motion sensor must be placed in the actions item slot to function correctly. Use the motion sensor to scout the area. I don't think this item is useful at all. Normally in game you can't see almost everything that moves, especially because most characters see a lot of things and you can see they're talking even behind walls. Okay, DHT tapes, holotapes. DHT tapes can store an incredible amount of data. Some can hold as much as 256K. The standard tape holds 64K, with the middle model holding an average of 128K, barring any bad inches of tape. DHT tapes are based on tape holography technology, storing their information safely for extended period of time. Use the DHT tape to add its information to a compatible reader. In your case, the Pip-Boy 2000. You keep using that kit in the manual, I think that's wrong. But yeah, extended period of time, they're not lying if you look at the later games. Experience, double up, those titles don't really mean anything, but hey, they sound cool. Skill points, very important. Perks, extremely good. A lot of them, that's very good. Okay, Future Tech, a division of Vault Tech, presents the following advertisement for your enjoyment. When the all clear sound on your radio, you don't want to be caught without the Garden of Eden Creation Kit. The kit includes Base Replicator Unit. Replicates food and basic items needed for building your new world. Just add water, powered by cold fusion. Holodisk Reader with Library. Includes sections from the Library of Congress, complete set of encyclopedia and other life-saving informations. All contained on 460 handy holodisks. A condensed version is available on 3 handy holodisks. And a miniature pen flashlight, not suitable for children under the age of 3. Different toy is available for younger children. 4 out of 5 nuclear scientists recommend the Garden of Eden Creation Kit over the other leading survival kits. This thing, you can see it was originally just a fake ad for a pre-war product, but this becomes kind of a big deal. Appendices, instant tips, some spoilers in the list below. Oh no. Strip your fallen foe, barter the loot away, and save often, that's the most important. Be nice to people. Often than not, a good reaction will help you. That's not to say going to better. Punch people in the nose. Can't get your way, fight. time. Remember that you're on the clock, the vault is dying. Save, save, save. Did we mention to save your game? Where do I go from here? Talk to people, explore the world, Oh yeah, you can go back to your vault later on, it's pretty nice. Specialize. Spend your skill in 1 or 2 or 3 skills. Master a small set of skills. Then you generalize. Save game feature. Crazy chicken is not very good. And then for that the credits, all these. They made such a good game. They deserve all the praise. Customer support. This page is actually removed from some of the later versions of the manual, so that's interesting. Limited 90-day warranty, lifetime warranty. Copying prohibited, but the GOG version is, you know, not protected. Then this website. Never been to that website. I wonder. Probably an archive. And the manual ends with some recipes. Mushroom clouds there. A meringue with chocolate. And the dessert salad, which is a taco salad. I've made both last year. They were pretty good. I enjoyed them. And then the quick keys. That's useful to know. But if I forget anything, I just have to press F1 and I'll see them in game. And that's it for the manual. And as that's about it for the manual, that's gonna be it for this pre-Fallout stream. I skipped a lot of the gameplay stuff, but as I said, I'll show it as I play. It's gonna be much better. So, thank you very much for joining. That's gonna be it for this one. I'll see you all in 4 hours when I play the game for real. Thank you.